Hi, good morning, everybody at Beyond Parenthood. I have an amazing guest today that I am so excited to introduce you to. Evrim is an amazing healer. She is absolutely incredible. She has a wonderful, beautiful family, and her message is needed to be heard. So I'm so excited to introduce Evrim. Evrim, I'm not even going to attempt to say your second name, my sweet. I'm going to hand it over to you and introduce yourself, and if you would let the people know what you do and a little bit about your story, and how you met your lovely husband, your wonderful children, and then where you are today.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. Thank you. I'm so happy to be part of your work. And no worries about my name. My full name is Evrim Numanoglu Ozgen. And you know what? Numanoglu, actually, I was so insistent to take that with me when I got married to my husband. And my husband warned me because we were moving to the UK at the time. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep my full name. And now he jokes about it to me. Anyway, so my name is Evrim Numanoglu Ozgen, and I'm an energy healer, and I'm also a transformational coach. And my focus is creating a joyful, connected, and peaceful foundation for families, so our children grow up free from old conditioning, limiting patterns, blocking energies, ancestral patterns. So they are free to be themselves. They are free to grow up as who they are, and they are free from suffering and struggle. So that is really my vision in my life. That is what I'm creating with my work. And of course, it's like it is, as it is for all of us, it is because of my own story. It's because of how my life evolved since my birth. Actually, everything, now I see it clearly, everything happened in my life was for this purpose. Yes. So that is the summary, Lorraine. And if you want me to go deep, I would love to.
Absolutely, because I think telling our story makes it more real for others, and to make them feel not alone. It's so important. We have communities, Evrim. What do you think? You would agree with that?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And we are thriving as a family right now. I mean, I really, both my husband and myself and our children, I think we really are connected with that feeling of thriving. And that is a big part of it is community, Lorraine. The community that we are part of in the UK, and also other communities that we are part of around the globe. So that has been huge for us. And yes, I'd like to go into more detail about it during our interview. Absolutely.
Yes, please.
And I want to say something for our audience. So my voice, I almost lost. Actually, it's ironic to say that I lost my voice. But, I had, I was at a transformational training. I was coaching as a volunteer coaching in Boston, in USA last week. And, the energy was amazing. And there were it was amazing. And at the end, after lots of cheering and supporting and shouting for the students and for everyone who was going through a beautiful transformational process. Yesterday, I found out, oh my God, my voice, it has to come back for tomorrow, but it's here. So I'm glad that we're making it.
Absolutely. And it sounds beautiful and perfect. You're very, very clear. So thank you, Evrim, for making the time and sticking to this as well. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So let me go back to my stories. I was born in Turkey. I think it's important to say that because now I live in so many different cultures. So it is actually impacting my family beautifully as well. So I was born and raised in Turkey, and I moved to the UK when I was 27. And it was because I was offered a job in the headquarters of the company. It was a British company that I was working in Istanbul in Turkey. Wow. And that was an overnight decision. I was offered a job in the evening after working hours by the director in the UK. and I was asked to make my decision in the morning. So don't ask me why. It sounds crazy, I know, but I think it was meant to be that way.
Absolutely.
And
You were in the flow. You were in the
yes, and
flow.
I said
Yeah.
yes. I said, okay, of course I will go. So this is definitely a new opening for life. And yeah, that was an amazing journey. You know, that was a journey for me to get to know myself, because I was away from my family. I was away from everything I knew as normal, as standard, or as life. So that was really an amazing journey of discovering so many things about myself. And just a little bit background about my education, because I think that is also important. I find it something that people really relate to, many people. I was educated, my education background is engineering.
Wow.
And I also studied MBA, business management, so many things about business in the UK. And then I started to feel like something was missing in my life, because I was living in my head most of the time. The work that I did and the education that I had and how I was raised was mostly about thinking and thinking and thinking and analyzing. And after a while, when we live our lives that way, we burn out.
Yeah.
Really, because we are not designed to live without feeling. It's just not possible for us. It's just our true essence to feel and to be connected. And I was not feeling, I was avoiding my feelings. And with that interest, I started to do some things, like I work with somatic, psychosomatic pain, because I had some injuries. And then I moved into sports massage therapy. I'm a qualified sports massage therapist.
Wow.
And then when I had my first child, my life turned upside down. And of course, I was so happy, and we wanted it, we planned it. And I had a beautiful, amazing pregnancy. However, when I was a mom, all the things that I had buried inside came out to the surface.
Oh,
That
gosh.
there was no way for me to run away from my feelings. There was no way for me to hide. So I was a mess, really, Lorraine. I was a mess. And
mentally,
again,
physically, every way.
yes, I mean, I was physically healthy. Like, that is
Okay.
one thing about me. I am so grateful for having a healthy, strong body. And of course, I'm very aware of that. I really pay attention to what I do with my body and for my
Yeah.
body. And but mentally, emotionally,
Okay.
I was a mess emotionally and mentally, and I was going through some confusion as well about who I am and who I was, not now, but who I was and what I was meant to do in career-wise as well, whether I was meant to be back to work that I was doing, or whether I was meant to find a new career. So that was really a very very emotionally and mentally difficult period for me. However, that is the message that I actually would like to give to our audience. In every struggle, in every challenge that we have, there is really a bright message. There is really a door that is actually open to us, as long as we are willing to find that door and then step into that door of opportunity. Then that is really an opportunity for us, that struggle, that challenge. So within that difficulty, I actually found my purpose. So
Wow.
my motivation at the time was to find myself, meet myself, like really unite with who I was and feel good for myself and for my son and for my husband. And with that reason, I started to talk to people. I asked my friends, what can I do? And I started to read different books, and I ended up going to a seminar about theta healing meditation modality. It's an energy healing meditation modality.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with that because it made me feel so good. I really felt in peace for the very first time.
Yeah.
And I met my mom who had died when I was 8 years old. My mom died when I was 8 years old because of cancer, breast cancer. And until I was 35, I actually realized I never talked about it properly. Like that, in the family, we actually never really talked about it in a way that we were free to express our sadness, or really to embrace this sorrow and grief that we had. So that was a huge thing for me, that I met my mom and I went through the pain, I went through the grief that I never had because I was a child, I didn't understand, and then I was shut down, like completely disconnected from that. And of course, what it did was I connected with myself, and it created connection with my son, because I was not available for him emotionally, even though I was always with him and I was really going frantic about being a good mom for him.
Yeah.
I was not available emotionally. So that was the truth. And
So
then
you
I
just
kept
went through processes. You just went through the daily processes of making sure he was comfortable.
Oh, yes.
And all of that, making sure he was safe. But that was just automatic. You were like an automatic pilot.
Yes. And I was constantly telling, I mean, he was a baby, but telling him that I loved him and told him how much I loved him. And I felt it. But just like you said, it was more like a routine and process, an automatic way of a connection. So not really a deep, true connection. And then I kept going. I for a year, I studied like full time, studied energy healing modalities, and you know, I was the student, so I received, like I was like a sponge. I got everything, and then
you were open to it all.
Yes, and then I started to give it to others. It wasn't a planned thing at all, and it was very unusual for me. You know, I am an engineer, and everything I did in life was all about preparing business plans and making plans, and you know, planning things and executing things. So that was really surrender, the first time I actually experienced surrender in my life. And then now I am actually offering it to people, not only theta healing, but in that process, in the last 4 or 5 years, I've studied a lot of different ways of transformation, causing transformation for people, causing healing for people. And now that is what I'm giving as a gift to moms and dads and people who want to start a family, and they want to be sure that they are actually free from their own limiting patterns and programs, because we all have those. And it's a journey. You know, we shed our layers, and we open up and we transform, and then we go to the next layer, and then we release that. It's really a process and journey. Yeah,
absolutely. And what I always say to Beyond Parenthood is, we're not supposed to do this alone. And you're deserving of the help. You're deserving of the money that you need to spend on yourself, as well as the time you spend on yourself. And that's exactly what you did. You did all the training. You opened yourself up. You paid for the training, and to become a master in the healing modalities. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a great point, Lorraine. Thank you for pointing it out. It is actually commitment. It starts with being committed to yourself and your life, really fighting for your life. I mean, I don't like the word fighting, I have to say. I mean, I'm saying it in this interview just
it's a good context.
Yes,
it's in good context.
Yes. So
to
really
motivate. To motivate.
Being committed to yourself.
Yes.
And your family. So that starts with that. And yes, of course, you know, you get to invest in yourself, and that investment means time, that investment means effort, that investment means energy, that investment means money. So yeah, if I had not done all of those things, just like you said, if I got it, oh my God, you know, I'm spending like literally tens of thousands of pounds. I'm not exaggerating, you know, just in a year or two, to go to all those seminars and receive healing and receive, you know, from people, and also give to others during that process, I wouldn't be here. And I think I wouldn't even have my second child, because one of the most beautiful things happened in that process is we wanted a second child, and that experience was completely different. So because he was he was in my he was with me during all those meditations and healings.
Yeah.
And yeah, from the birth, starting from the birth, it was a completely different experience. So my message is really, when we release what is holding us back, when we release beliefs such as one I had was motherhood is a trauma, was a belief that I discovered about myself during that healing process. And, there were many others. And when we release those beliefs and the energy attached to those beliefs, then we really create amazing things. So the birth experience with my second child was, something something I will never forget. It was like a dream come true. Just that was so peaceful. That was really out of this world. And that happened because I was a different person in terms of, who I was internally during that time. And it was the opposite. It was very traumatic during my first time. And I want to say something here. Something it's almost like I will get a little bit vulnerable here. I carried lots of guilt about not being that person for my first son, so that he didn't experience, such a beautiful birth. And she had very difficult 2 years, in the first 2 years of his life, that he was anxious because I was anxious and my husband was anxious. And, he had, eczema, he had wheezy chest episodes so often. And I felt guilty for like 2-3 years. I carried that guilt with me. And one of the breakthroughs, huge breakthroughs during this process of healing and transformation, was understanding that as beautiful souls, we all have our own free will. And when we choose to come to this world, we actually choose when and to whom and where. So I actually understood that he had his own choice in everything happened. So we were together in this. It wasn't just he was a victim of my limitations. So that was so unfair that I saw him as a victim of me. It was unfair for both of us. And when I switched that and saw him in his power, things changed as well.
You see, this is what I say to Beyond Parenthood. We forget our children have a soul, and that soul has come down to this planet with the divine's permission and telling, and have admitted what experiences they want to experience at this lifetime. And they co-create that with the universe. Now, we still have free will. One of the greatest gifts that we've been given is free will. So right up to the last moment, we can choose not to take the path that we think is straight in front of us. So that's massive. And I think this is one of the big things we need to get across to our children, that they have free will, no matter what age you are. In lots of ways, this gives us responsibility for our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, because we're making decisions every single moment of every single day, every single one of us.
Absolutely. Yes, that is a beautiful place to go. Yes, we are making choices every single moment. So we are making choices about what to think and how to feel every single moment. And Lorraine and I, we were talking about a 10 days challenge, 10 days service that I'm doing for my community. And it's about feeling good, because that's a choice that we can make. Life happens, almost all of us experience similar things. I mean, yes, different, but the pain, the struggle, the suffering that we experience, that happens. And feeling good is a choice. And I actually, it was about 3 weeks ago, I had, I felt really overwhelmed. I still do. Like, I've done all this work, but it happens. But what matters is shifting from that place quickly and being aware and remembering the power of making a choice. And
We're
also,
humans. We're human beings. We're
yeah,
here on this planet having a
yeah,
human experience. So things are going to get at us. It's not just our
absolutely.
energy. So again, it's not judging that either, isn't it,
Oh,
Evrim?
no, absolutely. And
And
actually setting an expectation like, I will never be upset, I will never be frustrated, I will never be sad, is actually, it's not what we are doing, because that is not true
in the
to our
flow.
nature.
Yeah, it's not in the
So it is,
flow. It's not in the flow. We need to keep learning. And this is how we learn as humans, yeah? Through pain, through heartache, and through challenges that we
yes.
consider challenges.
And what is really beautiful about this work, this healing and transformational work, is that as we learn and as we transform and heal, we learn, we train our mind, we train our soul and our entire being to choose joy over pain, to learn through joy and love and passion and fun, rather than struggle and pain and suffering. Because, you know, learning comes from pain is a very, I would say, sticky belief in collective consciousness, in like in all cultures. I think it's thousands and thousands of years
Yeah.
that we conditioned our minds. It's not conscious, it's, it's a
No, it's a
subconscious
past history.
choice.
It's our past history. Look at the
Yes,
wars, the
yes,
world wars
so
we've had, Yeah.
absolutely. So it's really a very, very strong condition that we have as a human beings all around the world, that
Yeah.
struggling has to happen to learn, or we learn through pain. Pain is an opportunity. I mean, yes, we find opportunity in every pain, struggle, and suffering. However, the truth is that that is also a belief. And what if one person changes? It's a contribution to change that collective consciousness for all of us and move into, we can learn with joy. It's okay not to suffer. We never have to suffer to grow. It's okay to choose joy and love. And that is what divine is about. It's
Yeah.
pure love. So we can choose to feel loved and still grow and still learn and still transform. That is what I believe, and that is what I am committed to passing to others, changing their belief system.
It's
Um,
perception. It's your perception. And
yeah.
one of the greatest gifts I think that we possibly do ourselves in our life, certainly from my point of view, Evrim, is when something is coming at me, I just stop and breathe and call the angels in, and I just say, right, who does this belong to?
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, right, I need to think about this. We don't have to react now. So it's holding back on that reaction, because when we're in the emotion state, we can lead into a lot of pain and hurt and add to the drama.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And I mean, in theta healing work and in the work that I do,
Yeah.
I look at mainly 4 different areas for those beliefs. So one is from ancestors, our ancestral heritage,
Yeah.
because we carry, I mean, our DNA carries beliefs and all those energy as well. What they experienced, for example, one of my clients, actually, interestingly, a few of my clients are immigrants, not Turkish, but from different parts of the world.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's not a coincidence, right?
No, no such thing as coincidence. No such thing.
uh,
Attract and like to attract. Yeah.
yeah, and their ancestors were that way as well. I mean, I'll talk about one of them. So her parents sacrificed a lot to move from one country, actually from one continent to another continent. So they
Wow.
had to leave their parents away, they had to leave their houses, everything they had. Literally, they left everything and they moved to another continent to start a new life. And of course, they had children, they created this family, and my client is one of their children. And at some point, while we were working, I supported her to really tune in, connect with one of her limiting beliefs, which was, I have to leave my family behind to to fulfill my purpose.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So then she understood where it came from. It came from her ancestors, because they actually traveled a lot, and especially her parents. It's just her parents. They had to leave everything behind to, create a life, a new
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
create, just you really follow their purpose and desire. So now it's a different life for her, and we worked on that through healing and through mindset. So I combined both energy healing and mindset. So now she's beautifully changing so many things in her life right now, moving into a completely new career, a new house, a new place to live, and new relationships. So that's really a powerful example, I think, of ancestral belief systems. And of course, the other thing is our soul's journey. So during our soul's journey and experiences and choices, we have beliefs, so many beliefs. And the other one is the collective consciousness, just like suffering, that I talked about. And each culture, each tradition and religion, they also have some different belief systems, and we all take them as well as truth, as our perception. And the other one is how we were raised by our parents, by our families. So that is the fourth area of belief systems, belief patterns that I work in. So it is literally everything. So we have 4 categories, but everything creates, if it's a repeated thought, it creates a pattern in our lives.
And those patterns, as you know, have come in for a long time. So it's not easy. It's a process as well. The healing is a process. And I'm sure you must ask people to come out of their comfort zone, to take action. Yeah. Because otherwise, if we don't take the action, what are we co-creating again? Our belief system is co-creation with the universe, and it's going to give us more of what we believe.
Yes, it is. That's so true, that when we are in our completely comfort zone, like really absolute comfort zone, it means that we are operating from our old patterns. Like we are not really changing our belief systems and changing our thinking and programs. However, having said that, I know that it's not always a conscious choice. Yes, it starts with consciously being committed, but then how I work is that I guide my clients. It's a gentle process of conversation, meditation. So we really go to the roots, like the bottom of the issue, if you like. So really the belief that is causing many other beliefs. If you think it as a tree and the roots, so all the branches and leaves, they are all different beliefs. Like I'm just going to make up some beliefs right now, or maybe I'll tune into some of my clients. So let's say men are weak, or some other things.
Money, lack of money.
Marriage is unhappiness. Money is evil. So many different beliefs. Like I'm unworthy. I'm not worthy of love. I'm rejected. I'm lost. So many. I'm alone. I have to do it on my own. There are so many beliefs. And then as we work, we really want to go to the roots of that tree, really go deep, because when we change it at the roots, we call it as bottom belief, then all other beliefs really naturally, automatically start to shift, and those leaves change the colors and the branches start to change. So that is what I do, instead of spending all the time here, because we will change things here. However we do, there's always a shift. It's impossible not to have a shift in this work. However, if we don't go to the bottom, and then if the person doesn't take action, things may go back to old patterns. That's why I always say that having a session or 2, yes, it makes a change and it makes you feel good. And if you really already have a pattern of taking consistent action, not all people have, honestly, not many people have that. Unless you are at that space, it's likely that after a few months, you will start to see old patterns. For that reason, this is really a work it's a journey. It's not even like a few hours or a few months work. It's really a journey, and people worry about money a lot. And what I can tell you is, when you start to do this work, and when you are really committed, and when you really spend the time and yes, invest, the money starts to show up as well. And trust me, it does, because you are changing your beliefs about money too. At the beginning, yes, you will have fears. Maybe some people will have fears about, oh my God, how am I going to invest that much money in this? You just get to pass through that fear. And once you start to work, and once you are committed to continue, maybe it's a month for someone, maybe it's 6 months for someone, and maybe it is 2 years for another person, because it depends on how deeply those money beliefs are ingrained for that person. So believe me that money is going to be a natural result of this process. So yeah.
How amazing. Yeah, yeah. You know, and it's part of who we are on this planet. We all need money to pay bills, and we don't want to be stressed about having to do that. So it is our natural guide, it's our natural way. They want us to have money just as much as we want it here. So I think money is a huge issue and can stop people from going forwards, doing a beautiful process by working with you.
It does stop many people. Yes, absolutely. And every time, okay, so each time you make a decision because of not having money, you are trading your mind about not having money. So every single decision that you make about, oh, I can't afford it and therefore I won't do it, you're actually strengthening that belief. Even more, yes. Even more. Like, it can be even with simple things like choosing maybe a meal because it's not, I mean, it's not expensive. Every time you do that, every time you do that, you're telling yourself, okay, I'm not worthy of spending that money on myself. Money is a difficult thing. Money, I don't have money. I will never have money. So you can start with something simple. I'm not saying that go out and spend tens of thousands of pounds. And I'm just saying that we can make, just like we talked about, we have the power to make a choice every single moment. You can start practicing with really simple things. You can be aware of what your spendings are during a day, a typical day, and you can choose to spend it for things that you feel worthy of, like that will make you feel like powerful and worthy, and you will be training your mind and you will be training your body. You will be in alignment of, yes, I can have more money. Yes, I am worthy of spending for myself. Yes, I'm worthy of investing in my growth. So that is really like a muscle that we train every day.
Yeah.
And I want to say something. When I made the decision to invest in, constantly investing at the beginning, I was not working. So, I mean, my husband and I, it's our choice that we don't have that separation, but it was so easy for me to say, you know what, I'm not working, I'm not generating income this time of my life, and I will invest in that when I find a job, and then I start to, generate income. That was so easy to say that, and that is, I'll be honest, that is what many people do. I invite, if you are listening and if you are realizing, oh, that's what I do actually most of the times, I invite you to switch it back and start thinking like, now is the time. I'm ready for this investment, and I will find a way.
Absolutely. And having simple tips like that makes such a difference. How do you wake up in the morning? You know, if you're going to wake up and say, oh, I'm really tired, I want to go back to bed, it's cold outside, I don't know what I'm doing today, there's too much on, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to your day? It's going to keep going spiral down. Whereas wake up in the morning and say, I am worthy of this day. I am creating miracles this day. I know I am changing lives, and most of all, I'm changing mine, because I am worth it.
Yes. Thank you, Lorraine. Yes.
Makes a huge difference, makes a massive difference. How you start your day, how you end your day, and then being able to go into a restful sleep. Doesn't matter how many hours you get. People focus on time as well. Time is another big issue. Have you found time with some of your clients?
Time is an issue? Yes, absolutely. It's actually in my last session, interesting that you're asking it, before our interview, we talked about time. One of my clients, she tends to be late for things. It's not like 10, 15, 20 minutes, but it's like between 1 and 5 minutes. She's very consistent in being consistently late for a few minutes. And you may think that, it's okay, a few minutes difference is not going to make a big difference. However, it's not like that. There's a reason why she's always late, even if it's a few minutes. And one thing, how we show up in one thing, how we live one thing is really how we do so many other things. So when we make a change in that area, it really changes so many other areas in our lives. So I prompted her about this, and she was willing to go deep into that. And then what we found at the end was she felt overwhelmed. And when it was about her boundaries. Again, going back to her growing up, she felt controlled by her parents, and she had those beliefs of that she didn't have a voice, and she didn't have a choice, and therefore her reaction to time was pushing things away, delaying it. And for that reason, it became a pattern in her life that she wanted to express herself by being late. Like, I choose to be late for a few minutes. So yes, it served her in a way that, she found a little bit power in that. But what we did was, bringing clarity, bringing light into that she never needs to be late to feel in power, because her power is already within her, within her choices. So, we did some work on that, and things are much better, and I'm going to have another session with her soon, so it's going to be on time. I trust that. So again, I want to say that it's not about judging someone for not being on time. It is about understanding why. What is the belief beneath that? Because that's what we do. That is what we do. We change that belief, and then it changes so many things. Now she finds power in herself rather than pushing people away or expressing her voice by being late.
Yeah, it's not just our beliefs. We create patterns, and addictions even. They become addiction, like addictives. She needed those few minutes, she felt, to be late. So it became like an addiction to her. Addictions are many different things. I mean, it's not just alcohol or being a chemical reaction in your body. We can actually physically use it ourselves as well, and create it for ourselves as well. And again, that would be a limiting belief. That would be something to be looked at through the healing with yourself as well. You'd look at those sort of things as well.
Addiction?
Yeah.
Yes, it's well, I have to say that addiction in terms of really things that you mentioned, like alcohol or drugs, that is not a specific area that I focus on. However, when it comes up in the family work that I do for parents, that I do work with them, and it is again about beliefs, as you said. Actually, nothing is isolated from other things. And in terms of addiction, it is to numb our feelings. So it's really a way to escape from feeling. And just like you said, it doesn't have to be, it's not just drugs or alcohol or smoking. So my addiction was working and being on my head, being in my head. So my addiction was thinking and overanalyzing, because it served me at the time to really suppress my feelings, not to feel the pain. So, and every by the way, each belief serves us. Like if you have a specific pattern right now, understand that it served you, and that is why you had that. So we don't hate those beliefs, like we
No,
don't judge those beliefs,
don't judge them.
because
Yeah, no judgment.
they served in a way, but
Yes.
now at this time of life you want to go to a different direction, and that is why they are limiting at this point. So yes, addiction, it's the same, you know, we
It's
start
part.
with when it first started and how it served, and then I look at, for the thing that it serves, what is the empowering belief that we can give to, you know, I can give to my
Change.
client, and I can teach to my client that she or he can practice every day.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Powerful, powerful. You know, just so enlightening this is. And I just really want to thank you for being so vulnerable, number one, and number two, being here and being able to explain it very clearly what it is that you do. And yeah, there's so many different aspects to this. There's so many different aspects, but for you to be so open to everything and not judging is a massive thing. I think that's all part of when we clear ourselves as well. Judgment has to go. We see things on a higher perspective, not meaning that we're better than anybody else, but we just can see things in a loving way, from a loving perspective, much more so than saying, oh, you know, you need to give that up because it's not serving you anymore.
Yeah.
It's looking deeper. It's looking deeper and seeing the root cause and saying, listen, let's transmute this. We can do it through numerous ways, and finding out what suits your clients the best. There's no set ways. I'm sure each client is different to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Lorraine, I mean, we see our purpose at the end is to see that through that love and light within each one of us, because we are not different. And we all had different experiences, and therefore created different belief systems and patterns, and all of us want to have a life with joy and love and passion and connection and health and wealth. So I think we actually pretty much unite in what we want and who we are.
Yes.
But it is really bringing that awareness, and as you said, releasing the judgment, because it's so easy to go into judgment. And again, let me tell you that it happens. You know, we all still have our ego, and you know, there are times I may find myself going to judgment about my husband, but then I realize it, or he realizes it. It's also important to be aligned. So, and then it's, you know, when someone points it out, it's important not to be in resistance, because there's no point. If we are in resistance, it means that we are not going to grow, heal, and transform. So I think that is the mindset. As long as we are in that mindset, we are able to receive feedback, because feedback is neutral. Feedback is for our growth.
Yeah.
And from that place, we can transform and heal.
Great way to end this interview, my lovely. Just so perfect, because everybody, again, we're giving you hope here. We're giving you a space where you know you're not alone, and also that there are different ways, different modalities for you to going forwards, and choosing what's right for you is key. So always being followed by your soul. Your soul is going to guide you and direct you in the right direction. Just know that when it's there, it's giving you that clear message that you're open to receive it.
Yes, beautiful, Lorraine. Can I say one last thing?
Please.
That I believe can support our audience? So I would say that, first of all, please spend some time in a quiet place, maybe an hour or a few hours, to really connect with what you want in life, what you want for yourself, and what you want for your family, for your children, for your family. And then I would say that look around and see whether you are spending your time with people who are aligned with what you want. it's so incredibly important, because you will be, otherwise, if you know what you want and then you spend your time every day with again, this is not judgment, this is for you, with people who actually want the opposite, or who are not aligned with your energy, with your desires, with your purpose, then you will find yourself in a vicious circle of, like, it's almost like a constant battle with yourself and with people. So what I want to say is, reach out to people who understand what you want and who really are aligned with your purpose, and who has already done at least some parts of your big purpose, like who can guide you, because they have already gone through some of the process, so they can guide you. And that, as you mentioned, that as a community, I think it's so incredibly
important.
Essential to find your tribe, find your community, because we are not meant to do this alone. In fact, not it is that we are not meant to do this alone, I believe that it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen alone.
No,
and
if you're going to close yourself up. Sorry, go on.
It's also a way to be an example to our children, that they learn right now. I mentioned that, one of those 4 important areas of beliefs is how we are raised, and it's usually up to age of 7 or 7, 8. So really, it's also being example to our children that it's okay, to receive support, that, we are a community, there are other people, it's safe, world is safe. So it's really to create that foundation.
Yes, yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Evrim. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. And thank you for being so open and sharing your story, as well as your work, your beautiful, wonderful work. So until the next time, this is not the end, Evrim, I hope.
Yes, of course. I look forward to the next time. Thank you so much, Lorraine. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening, watching. I hope it supported you.
Thank you so much. God bless everybody.